At their daughter's wedding, she learned her ex-husband secretly paid her hospital bills for 3 years. The ballroom shimmered with soft golden lights, laughter, and the quiet hum of a string quartet. It was the kind of wedding people dreamed of, elegant, warm, and full of love. But for Eliza Carter, standing near the back of the room, it felt like standing at the edge of two different worlds. In one world, her daughter, Sophie, was glowing in a white dress, smiling brighter than Eliza had ever seen her. In the other, memories lingered like shadows, memories of a marriage that had ended years ago, leaving behind scars that never quite faded. Eliza adjusted her shawl, her eyes drifting across the room until they landed on him. Daniel Carter, her ex-husband. He stood near the bar, speaking quietly with a guest, his posture calm, his face older but still familiar in a way that stirred something deep inside her. It had been 5 years since their divorce. 5 long, complicated years filled with silence, distance, and unspoken regrets. They hadn't spoken more than necessary, only about Sophie. Birthdays, school, milestones, nothing more. And yet here they were again, in the same room, brought together by the one person they both loved more than anything. "Mom?" Eliza turned, her breath catching as Sophie approached, her wedding dress flowing behind her like a dream. "You look beautiful," Eliza said, her voice trembling slightly as she reached out to fix a strand of Sophie's hair. Sophie smiled. "I get it from you." Eliza laughed softly, though her eyes grew misty. "Today is your day. I'm so proud of you." Sophie hesitated for a moment, glancing over her shoulder toward where Daniel stood. "Are you okay?" Eliza followed her gaze, then nodded. "I'm fine. This isn't about me." Sophie squeezed her hand. "It kind of is. You and Dad, you both made me who I am." Eliza didn't respond. Some truths were too heavy for a day like this. The ceremony began soon after, and Eliza took her seat in the front row. As Sophie walked down the aisle, Daniel stood at the end, his eyes shining with pride and something else, something softer, almost broken. For a moment, Eliza forgot everything else. The arguments, the distance, the quiet nights alone. All she saw was the man she once loved, looking at their daughter as if she were the most precious thing in the world. Maybe, in some ways, they had done something right. The reception was lively, filled with music, dancing, and heartfelt speeches. Eliza tried to stay present, smiling when needed, congratulating guests and avoiding Daniel as much as possible. But fate had other plans. She was stepping outside for some air when she heard a voice behind her. "Eliza." She froze. It had been years since he said her name like that, softly, carefully, as if it still meant something. She turned slowly. "Daniel." For a moment neither of them spoke. The night air was cool, carrying the distant sound of laughter from inside. "You look, well," Daniel said finally. Eliza gave a small nod. "So do you." Silence fell again, heavy and awkward. "I didn't expect we'd actually talk tonight," he admitted. "Neither did I." Another pause. Then Daniel reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small envelope. "There's something you need to know," he said, holding it out to her. Eliza frowned slightly but took it. "What is this? Just open it." Her fingers trembled slightly as she slid the paper out. Inside were copies of medical bills, hospital visits, treatments, medications. Her name was on all of them. She looked up confused. "Why are you showing me this? These are old. Look closer." Her eyes scanned the pages again. Paid in full, paid. Her breath caught. "I don't understand," she whispered. Daniel exhaled slowly, as if he had been holding this truth inside for years. "After the divorce, I heard about your condition, from Sophie. She tried to hide it, but I could tell something was wrong." Eliza's heart began to pound. "I knew you wouldn't accept help from me," he continued, "not after everything that happened between us. So I made sure the bills were taken care of, quietly." She stared at him, her mind struggling to catch up. "What are you saying?" "I've been paying your hospital bills," he said simply. "For the past 3 years." The world seemed to tilt. Eliza shook her head, taking a step back. "No," her voice rose, supposed to. Her voice rose, trembling. "Why would you do that?" Daniel met her gaze, his eyes filled with something raw and unguarded. "Because you needed it." "That's not an answer. It is for me." Tears welled up in her eyes, anger and confusion swirling together. "After everything, after how we ended, you just..." Decided to play the hero? I wasn't trying to be a hero, he said quietly. I was trying to do what I should have done a long time ago, take care of you. The words hit her harder than she expected. You don't get to do that anymore, she said, her voice breaking. You lost that right. I know, he replied. That's why I didn't tell you. She looked down at the papers in her hands, her vision blurring with tears. 3 years. 3 years of treatment she thought she had somehow managed on her own. 3 years of relief she couldn't explain. 3 years of him quietly standing in the background, making sure she was okay. Why now, she whispered. Why tell me today? Daniel hesitated. Because I didn't want there to be any secrets left. Not anymore. Sophie deserves better than that. Eliza closed her eyes, trying to steady her breathing. I never stopped caring about you, he added softly. Her eyes snapped open. Don't, she said quickly. Don't say that. It's the truth. No, it's not. You don't get to rewrite the past. I'm not trying to, he said. I know I hurt you. I know I failed you in ways I can't undo. But that doesn't mean I stopped caring. Tears slipped down her cheeks now, unstoppable. Then why did you leave, she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Daniel's expression faltered. Because I thought I was doing the right thing at the time. I thought, giving you space, letting you live without my mistakes, was better. It wasn't, she said, shaking her head. It broke me. I know, he replied, his voice thick with regret. And I've been living with that ever since. They stood there in silence, the weight of years pressing down on them. Inside, music played, laughter echoed, life went on, but out here time seemed to stand still. I don't know what to do with this, Eliza said finally, holding up the papers. You don't have to do anything, Daniel said. I didn't do it for recognition. I just needed you to know. She studied his face, searching for something, an answer, an explanation, maybe even a lie she could hold on to. But all she saw was sincerity, and that made it harder. You should have told me, she said. I know. We could have, I don't know, figured something out. Maybe, he admitted. Or maybe you would have pushed me away even more. She didn't respond, because part of her knew he was right. I never wanted to owe you anything, she said quietly. You don't, he replied. This wasn't about debt. Then what was it about? Daniel took a step closer, his voice soft but steady. Love, even if it didn't look like it anymore. Her heart clenched. Love. The word felt foreign, yet painfully familiar. I don't know if I can forgive you, she said honestly. I'm not asking you to. I don't know if I can trust you again. I understand. But, she hesitated, her voice trembling, I don't hate you either. A small, sad smile touched his lips. That's more than I deserve. She let out a shaky breath, looking back toward the ballroom where their daughter was celebrating the beginning of her new life. Maybe we start there, she said, not as husband and wife, but as something else, for her. Daniel nodded. I'd like that. For the first time in years, the distance between them felt a little less impossible, not gone, but smaller. Eliza folded the papers carefully and held them close to her chest. Thank you, she said softly. Daniel didn't reply right away. He simply looked at her as if committing the moment to memory. Then he said, You're welcome. And under the quiet night sky, with the echoes of their daughter's wedding behind them, two people who had once lost everything stood on the fragile edge of something new. Not love as it once was, but perhaps something just as meaningful.